Our trailer will start with the typical convention of the UK rating card of a 15. We will copy the real preview card to make our trailer look as realistic and professional as possible.
We will then have our production logo, which will help create our brand and advertise our production company.
We will then cut to an extreme close-up of a foot splashing into a puddle. This will create a cinematic feel and set the tone for our trailer and the film. The mystery also creates an enigma as the audience want to know who it is, and also it fits the conventions of coming of age, as it is a symbolic representation of the journey they will undergo.
We will then cut to a black screen with the Sundance Festival logo to give the impression of critical acclaim and also to highlight to the audience that it is an independent British film.
Next, we will cut to a high-angle shot of one of our female actresses walking up the stairs at a train station. The fact she fills a frame establishes her as the protagonist of the trailer and film.
Then it will cut to a long shot of the other female actress running around the corner in a pink jumper and with long hair down. This creates binary opposition between the two female characters and encourages the audience to identify with one of them. This uses Levi Strauss's narrative theory to encourage the audience to watch the film.
Next, it cuts the male actor walking down the stairs on the other side of the railway bridge. The fact all the characters continue the same visual journey and that the continuity matches up binds all the characters together. The mundane setting sets up the equilibrium, according to Todorov, to allow it to be disrupted and resolved throughout the film.
Then it will cut to a black screen with a quote from Empire magazine. The black background gives a cinematic feel and draws the audience's focus instantly to the white text because of the quote, and looks striking because of the strong contrast.
Then we will cut to a medium shot of all three characters around the table on a train, with some looking out the window and the other on her phone. Then the phone rings and they all look up to the luggage rack, and the female actress reached up to the rack. The loud noise of the phone ringing startles the audience from the silence and creates tension. The inclusion of all the characters in one shot further suggests to the audience that they are one unit who will face the tension together.
Next, it will cut to a close-up of the actress's hand pulling the strap of a rucksack and pan down as the briefcase falls. This close-up assigns significance to the briefcase, and the briefcase has semiotics of big business but also corruption and adult affairs. This subtly introduces themes to the audience that are conventions of the genre and will feature throughout the film.
Next, it will cut to a close-up of all the locks on the briefcase and the two hands unclicking the locks at the same time. The sound of the locks gives the audience the impression something is being released, and it also has a particular significance as it represents the trouble that they get into as their own doing, and therefore they are responsible and must grow emotionally into adults to deal with the consequences, a key theme of coming of age.
Next, it will cut to a black screen and the lid of the briefcase lifts to reveal all three characters looking in surprised. The shot from inside the briefcase builds suspense as it creates an enigma according to Barter's Enigma codes as to what is in the briefcase to elicit such strong facial expressions from the characters.
Next, it will cut to a close-up of the inside of the briefcase with the bundles of £20 notes. This creates shock and tension for the audience, as it is a strong image, and not something they will see in everyday life. This helps the audience to identify with the characters as they have the same shock and surprise that they do.
Cutting to a black background with the words, "Could you leave your old life behind?" creates further enigmas for the audience and also allows for flashbacks and a non-linear narrative, which makes the trailer more engaging and seem less like a film opening. The use of the personal pronoun further involves the audience as it puts them in the same position as the characters.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of our male adult actor walking through the door with a belt in his hand and the dialogue, "Stupid girl, what the hell did you do that for, you stupid bitch? Why did you do that, eh? Why did you do that, eh? This loud shouting and dialogue is a stark contrast to the previous lack of sound.
It will then cut to a high-angle shot of our actress on the floor with her hands over her eyes and the male actor advancing towards her. This use of levels in the blocking of the scene demonstrates to the audience the dominance of the father and helps the audience identify with the protagonist and introduces the coming-of-age theme of family troubles and emotional turmoil.
Repetition of the black background with the white writing starts to create a brand, and the consistency of the font makes the trailer seem more professional. The question, "Would you trust two strangers?" informs the audience of the narrative device of the protagonist being strangers and involves them in their dilemma by causing the audience to consider their own reaction to the protagonist's situation.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of one actress hiding behind a corner and the other two actors walking along. The actress will then jump out and the other actors will scream but laugh good-naturedly when they realise it's her. This creates tension for the audience from the shock of the scream, but also develops the relationships between the protagonists.
The question, "Would you doubt everyone?" continues in the same style as other questions, keeping consistency. The question introduces the concept of the threat to the protagonist and sets up the binary opposition of the three protagonists against everyone else, according to the Levi-Strauss narrative theory.
Next, we will cut to a high-angle long shot of the three protagonists in a very famous location such as Trafalgar Square, with digital-style text along the bottom of the shot, with the location, date and time, and also a red dot in the top right-hand corner. This will give the impression it is CCTV footage and create the feeling of surveillance, and that they are against the odds to escape from the mystery pursuer. This highlights to the audience the idea of Big Brother watching them and creates a feeling of paranoia.
Then we will cut to the question, "How far would you go to protect yourself?" which helps the audience to strongly identify with the protagonist, as it gives the impression everything they do is in self-defense, and it creates dislike in the audience for the enemy/villain, according to Prop's narrative theory.
Next, we will cut to a worm's eye shot of the actor smashing towards the camera with a cricket bat. The mise-en-scène of the fluorescent tubing lights on the ceiling gives the shot an urban feel, and the cricket bat gives the impression the protagonists are the underdogs, making the audience more behind them. As soon as the first swing hits, the strong dubstep bass will drop and continues until the end of the trailer, increasing the pace and giving a strong urban feel to the trailer. It also gives the protagonists the impression of being anti-heroes, but the fact they aren't perfect will help the audience to relate and create more three-dimensional characters.
Question, "Would you let it ruin you?" brings a darker tone to the trailer and increases the threat and tension for the audience. The word ruin also has connotations that it's final and irreversible. This pushes the stakes higher.
Next, we will cut to an extreme close-up of a £20 note rolled up and white powder being sucked up it. This represents the struggle with drugs that is often featured in coming-of-age films. The symbolic representation shows how their lives go out of control, and the idea of drugs linked with what have previously been portrayed as mundane, innocent young people is shocking for the audience and suggests the film will tackle serious issues.
We will then cut to an extreme close-up of the pupil contracting and expanding, which links the concrete idea of drugs with the abstract idea of the person and how it affects their life.
Then it will cut to a shot with a bottle of vodka in the foreground taking up 2/3 of the shot, and the actress in the background propped up in a doorway unconscious. This juxtaposition helps link the female character with substance abuse, and the construction of the shot suggests the drink is taking over.
Next, it will cut to the question, "What if you were hunted?" which reinforces the binary opposition between the protagonist and the mystery villain and increases the tension and pace to set up a fast, non-linear chase sequence.
Next, we will cut to a dark, crowded room with flashing lights to symbolise a club, and the two female characters trying to fight their way through the crowd. This overload of people in the shot gives the audience a sense of the claustrophobia and panic the characters are experiencing.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of the female running away from the camera and climbing over pieces of discarded concrete with bright graffiti in the background. The mise-en-scène reinforces the urban element to the film, and the action of climbing over the concrete adds pace and tension to the trailer.
Then it will cut to an aerial shot of the three protagonists at a tube station and the tube pulling in. This helps highlight the capital location to the audience and acts as opposition to the typical glamour of crime films.
It will then cut to the two female protagonists in a car speedily reversing to show panic, tension, and adds another element to the trailer, as the three protagonists have been shown to split up, creating the audience to wonder what has occurred between them.
Next, it will cut to an extreme long shot of the protagonist running past the fountains of Trafalgar Square. This helps make the film seem big budget due to the famous location, and also the composition of the shot makes the actors look small, signifying their helplessness in the face of their pursuers.
Next, it will cut to a pan following a white van down a busy high street with the driver staring at the camera as he passes. This helps increase the scale of the threat, as it seems as though everyone is trying to hunt down the protagonist. The pan also keeps the pace up as the camera movement makes up for the lack of fast-paced action in the shot.
Next, it will cut to an extreme long shot of the protagonists running across a busy station. Their size and ability to be lost amongst the crowd enforces their underdog representation, as they seem insignificant and helpless amongst the vast amount of people in the capital. Next, it will cut to a close-up of the female character having a hand clamped across her mouth and being dragged out of shot. Not only does this provide a strong contrast to the extreme long shots and keeps the audience emotionally involved, it also creates a dark side to the trailer and suggests the danger will reach them.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of the protagonist running down a fairly upmarket London street, then hiding behind a black cab. The black cab symbolises the tourist side of London, which shows that even when they escape the dark underworld symbolised by graffiti and concrete, there is still danger hidden in the seemingly harmless city.
Then it will cut to a close-up of some feet in strong boots running up the staircase. This symbolic shot not only portrays the journey they undertake, but also gives the trailer a more cinematic, professional feel.
It will then cut to three protagonists hiding behind the cab, reinforcing that even when they escape the dark underworld symbolised by graffiti and concrete, there is still danger hidden in the seemingly harmless city.
Next, it will cut to a low-angle shot of the protagonist jumping over a scaffolding fence. This helps to show their progression from helpless to proactive and suggests the underdogs may triumph in the end.
Then it will cut to a worm-eye view shot with the lighting behind the female character and flashing irregularly to give the feeling that it's out of control and to represent her inner turmoil. We will then cut to a high-angle shot of the protagonist running up the stairs with the iron bars in the foreground, representing to the audience their weakness in the face of the strength of an industrial capital.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of the female characters running down some station stairs. Repetition of the running on stairs not only symbolises to the audience the continuous journey the characters are on, but also portrays to the audience how their efforts are fruitless as they just end up running round in circles. It will then cut to a close-up of the actress's face whipping from side to side, as if she's being watched. The close-up increases the audience's emotional involvement and gives a claustrophobic feel.
Then it will cut to an over-the-shoulder shot of the female protagonist looking at herself in a convex mirror on the tube and turning with her head in her hands. This shows the emotional turmoil and encourages the audience to empathise with her, making them more likely to go see the film.
Then it will cut to an establishing shot of all three protagonists running down the steps in front of the National Gallery. This reinforces the idea of the convergence between the superficial capital that people see from the outside and the darker underside of the urban environment.
Then it will cut to a shot of the female protagonist in the club looking around panicked. This cut back to the same location disorientates the viewer and reinforces the non-linear narrative.
Next, it will cut to a long shot of all the protagonists running around a corner and hiding. In this shot, we will use the rule of thirds with the action in the right-hand third to make the shot more visually appealing to the audience.
It will then cut to all three protagonists running down a London street and turning the corner quickly. This represents a panic and danger in the story as they are clearly being seen as running away from the villain, leaving the audience to feel sympathy.
We will then cut to a close-up of the female character's face being pressed against a brick wall. The physical violence and close proximity of pain puts the audience on edge and further builds the suspense and demonstrates that all three of the characters are in danger.
It will then cut to a long shot of the characters running up a long street, then hitting a chain link fence and pulling in bang on it to try and escape. The chain link will represent to the audience the harsh reality of the city and the idea that they are trapped with no way out.
Next, it will cut to a close-up of a fist punching the camera and cut to blackout as if the fist has blocked the camera. This very fast-paced shot makes the culmination of the build-up of suspense and signifies to the audience the violence in the film will include.
It will then cut to the same style black screen with the words "the best things in life are free," which suggests to the audience the subversive elements of the film, and by putting our tagline in the end, we hope it will be more memorable to the audience.
It will then cut to the title, Capital, in large font taking up most of the screen, using typical connotations of trailers to portray to the audience this is the title of the film. It will be accompanied by 3 gunshots, causing mystery and enigmas for the audience and symbolising the crime genre, further encouraging them to see the film.
It will then cut to a billing block of the names of our production company and actors and crew. This will help the audience discover that it's an independent British film and also makes the trailer seem more professional and cinematic.
The last screen will be the date of release of the film to help create a buzz surrounding the release, and also of our Twitter, Facebook and website to help keep the audience interested and link them to our other promotional materials. This will hopefully be one of the things they strongly remember, as it is the last image and the date is very large, assigning it strong significance.